Hello and welcome to Alternate Image Raid. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. We're going to do another Faction Wars team here, and this one is the Lizardmen. Now, so this team that I'm using here is the team I originally beat this with, and I hesitate to show only because it is hard carried by Krisk. I think stuck on stage 17 when I pulled Krisk a while back, and then was just able to smash through the rest of the stages. So I'm going to show this team still. I do want to show all of my faction wars in the way that I completed them. So I'm going to show this team. I'm going to show the run. Afterwards, I'm going to show all of their stats. And then I will discuss some alternatives for how you could get this done with some different options that I have at least available and potentially without Krisk. You'll see, of course, two of my champions here aren't even 6-starred. That was the way they were in the first place. And let's get to the run, and then we'll discuss all of the bits. So this team is almost exclusively tanks, and as a result, I am pretty much able to let this play out on full auto. Krisk drops his taunt, which kind of keeps this first wave on lockdown long enough for me to mostly take them out. He will drop his team attack as well, or team ally protect as well, which won't end up really mattering on this particular first wave as they're just going to stay locked down. But it's still really nice as backup support. And Jareg here, the leader, he also has an ally protect, which is one thing that makes this doable without a Krisk, is there are other champions fulfilling the same role. Jareg has the ally protect and also a heal. My Rhazin here, he has an AoE decreased turn meter, completely depletes turn meter. It is very nice, and we'll see it right there, to stop these enemy champions from going, and also will help immensely on the boss when the boss comes up. Skull Lord, this was one of my very first legendaries, so he actually was one of the first people on this team. I don't think he was 6-starred either at the time. I didn't take him up until after the buff recently, but he just kind of ends up being a little bit of additional control and a tiny bit of damage going through. You'll see we make it here to the boss. I'm going to go over the boss abilities. We have a chance to really slap an enemy based on their HP and ignoring defense. This is what can make the team die, as somebody can get one shot by this. This one will remove all debuffs from the champion, and then True Fear and stun my whole team, and then they get to go again and do their major slap ability. It is kind of rough, but again, the team is all tanks, so that is the key to what we're doing. And then this boss is the one that every time they take damage, their turn meter increases, which is what makes Rhazin's deplete so good, and that landed at the best possible time when the boss was full. Finally, my last guy here, I believe that it's Broadmaw, I believe is the name, I'll confirm after this, does have a res. So if somebody dies, and it does often happen that somebody dies, because the boss's A1 just hits like a truck, Broadmaw can bring them back up. The only danger for this team not being a 3-star at this stage is if somebody gets killed right before Broadmaw gets to go, and Broadmaw can't res them before the team actually kills the boss. So we'll see right now, if Jareg gets hit again, Jareg is going to die. I think we're going to make it, but Jareg could die here, and then Broadmaw will have to go before we kill the boss. Okay, we made it, and that was close. The boss could have killed Jareg, and then we would have ended up going and winning still, even if we didn't get the 3-star. We'll see this time we did get the 3-star. That is excellent. This team will very consistently win, thanks to some... they're almost all support. Rhazin is damage, Var-Gall is kind of damage, but it is a support tank heavy team, and that is the goal. That is the dream for this particular setup. So now I'm going to go show you the stats of these guys, and we'll see that most of them are in pretty reasonable stuff, except of course for the Krisk, who is in amazing gear, at least amazing for what I can accomplish. Krisk has a decent chunk of defense, a decent chunk of HP, a pretty solid speed. I was recently tuning this Krisk for my attempt at going after the world record team, not actually the record, just making the team work. That video is already up. And then accuracy to land the debuffs. Krisk does sit like most of my champions here in War Master just for that extra boss damage. And again, the artifact set is Stalwart, which is protection for clan boss, not so much for this boss. We have Skull Lord. Skull Lord now is actually in fairly decent gear. High defense, decent HP, okay on the damage here. And then I was building this for something, and I can't remember what I was doing, which is why the resist is so high. But for this team, all you need to do is make sure get the accuracy over 250, because we do have a chance of doing a provoke and also decrease attack, which is pretty nice for helping keep your team alive on that boss if the decrease attack is up. Rhazin is the guaranteed champion you get from the permanent fusion that's up. You can only do him once, but you can guarantee yourself this champion. He does actually hit pretty hard. He is a defense-based champ, so we'll see solid defense. Now, my crit rate and damage is not that high. I'm using more of a tank than actually damage, or I could get this up, and his accuracy over 250 to make sure we land this deplete turn, and also the decreased defense and weaken. He brings a really nice kit to the boss. I don't think this boss has any buffs that are getting stripped here, but there's a chance of stripping buffs off of the waves if they get to go. Masteries, we're going down to Giant Slayer because of triple hit A1. And I don't think I'd showed his. Also, Giant Slayer. And this is because of his A1 being a double hit. He has a chance of just going in. He can just like keep slapping the boss over and over again. And it's pretty nice. I used to have him in a... not a reflex set. What set did I put this guy in originally? Originally in the Relentless set for extra turns. So the extra turns could proc extra turns, which then proc extra turns. However, I couldn't get as good a gear as I wanted, so I kind of re-geared him just to get better stats later on. Broadmaw, we'll see, is in very random gear. This is not level. This is a budget champion. I don't use him anywhere else. I just wanted to get him enough HP that he stopped dying. When I was working on this champion, I just put gear on him until he stopped dying, and he would live and not be the one who died first, and that was it. We'll notice he does have increased crit rate and speed and turn meter, which is a really nice ability, as well as this revive. You'll notice he is not booked or masteried out. Just a support champ. He just needs to live. Whatever you got to do to keep this guy alive so he'll keep your team alive, they'll do it. Jareg, you're seeing the same thing. Yeah, he's not in very good gear at all. This is 5-star. I got a 5-star blue. I'm missing these pieces. Like, this is, just defense to keep him alive. We'll see his stats are very low, actually. Okay amount of HP, and that's it. He doesn't really need to be in much. He does provide this ally protection as a support to Krisk ally protection. And you'll see, of course, he has no masteries here, and that is why Krisk is carrying this team. However, while Krisk, of course, is one of the best champions in the game, probably the best champion in the Lizardmen faction, he isn't necessary because we are getting part of his kit from Jareg. If you have this guy instead for ally protect and increased defense, this is going to help your team stay alive. Just gear yours out like I didn't gear mine. You'll be in a good spot. We have Aox as a decent champion as well for a chance to heal and decrease attack, which is the thing that's going to keep your champion alive. So get rid of if you don't have a Krisk, bring in something like an Aox, and between these two champions, you're still getting the ally protect and the decrease attack to make sure that your team can see through to the boss. Of course, same thing. Gear at your Broadmaw if you have one. For me now, I have taken Broadmaw off of my team, and I run Chigurh on because it's much faster. I shave a little over a minute off of the run doing it this way because I bring an extra damage in. It's actually less safe. Sometimes I don't 3-star it this way, so Broadmaw is better for making sure you get those points. But the Lizardmen at this point now are in a decent place with strength, but they don't have a lot of them. So having one or two of, say, these 4 champions here is going to be really nice for making through this. I would recommend, if you have Jareg, use him, Broadmaw, and or Aox, possibly even both. Get your guaranteed Rhazin. At the point that you're trying to actually go for and push for Lydia, you should be able to complete this fusion. Get this fusion. This champion is really solid. He does, again, provide decreased defense and weaken for the boss, as well as this decreased turn meter, which, as you saw from that run, was actually really clutch in stopping the boss from getting to go. And so that's pretty much it. While my team is obviously hard carried by Krisk, we'll see there are options for doing this without Krisk, without having this S tier amazing legendary on your team that will get you through these Lizardmen. You might end up with a 4, 5, 6 minute run instead of 2 or 3 minute run, but you will get your stars for your Lydia if you go through this way. Now, this has been an alternate image raid video. I'm doing one of these for every single one of the factions teams. I do have my Lydia, and some of these teams are not really impressive. Some of them have carry champions, and some of them have guys geared like this. So we'll see kind of a varying setup of things going into these teams. Make sure to subscribe if you want some insight into all of these other faction wars. And after I finish going through the faction wars that has all of my specific teams on there, what I personally use, I'm going to start trying to like redo through them again with different compositions to see, can I do them if I take out, you know, the legendaries entirely, or if I take out Krisk specifically on this team, or the Broadmaw off the dwarves and stuff like that. So you will get to see some variation and some additional budget combos going in for these Faction Wars teams. If you'd like to check that again, definitely drop a sub. And if you dislike this video or this channel or my voice or whatever, feel free to smash that dislike button, as it's still engagements for the channel. And as always, have a great day.